Right, so here we're going to be solving quadratic equations by factorising. Now, let's say we had a quadratic expression that looks something like this. Then we know how to factorise that quadratic expression from earlier exercises that we've done. And we would have two sets of brackets. We'd have 2x and x in the front of each of these brackets, and we would have plus 3 and minus 5 in the second of these two sets of brackets. And that's just a process that we would have followed either by using the PSF method or some other method. But what would happen if that initial quadratic expression was an equation which equaled 0? Now we would be able to solve this equation, which simply means we'd need to find the values of x that would make that equation true. So the first thing we do is we factorise the quadratic expression, which is now a quadratic equation. So we factorise to get 2x plus 3 in brackets times x minus 5 in brackets is equal to 0. And there's an element of mathematics called the null factor law. And the null factor law just says that either 2x plus 3 is equal to 0 or x minus 5 is equal to 0. If we look at the first expression, we can find out what value of x would make that equal to 0. So we'll have 2x is equal to minus 3. X would be equal to minus 3 on 2. That's for the first expression. And the value of x that would make the second expression equal to 0 would be x is equal to 5. So by applying the null factor law, we've actually found the two values of x, that is x equals minus 3 on 2 and x equals 5, that will make this initial quadratic equation true. That is, the 2x squared minus 7x minus 15 is equal to 0. So we will have solved the quadratic equations by factorising. Now I'll put up some more examples of how to solve these types of questions, and we'll see that there are some patterns that occur that make getting these two values for x much simpler and more straightforward, and that we don't necessarily have to follow through with all of these steps below in the null factor law.